is my pleasure to be joined here in conversation with such a passionate advocate for this mission. So thank you so much, Prime Minister of Belgium, Alexander De Croo.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm really looking forward to this.
My first question is twofold. It really sort of like, in your opinion, what is the most effective way for us to start dealing with some of the challenges with climate? And the second is, why is it important to be thinking about building long-term resilience to these challenges?
Myself, I grew up in a very rural place in Belgium, and I still live there. And there's a lot of agricultural activities, and we see the impact of climate change. The droughts are much longer. When it rains, it is much more intense. We see that farmers are just losing their fertile ground because it's washing away. I think by now everyone is starting to see the impact of climate change. The key challenge that I see is how do we tackle this, and how do we make it possible for everyone, even for small farmers in Belgium, but also small farmers around the world, to handle this. And I think there's two big elements. One of them is technology. Technology will be the solution. The whole question is, how do you make technology accessible to everyone, and how do you speed it up? We don't have the comfort of time. If we want to be able to tackle this, we need to find ways for that technology that is under development, that is ready to be tested, to roll it out on such a massive scale to be able to also have massive effect. Who is going to play a role in this? And my experience as a Minister of Development, and it's also a topic which is really close to my heart, is that gender does play an important role in that. And we see throughout the world that if women get involved, it is just being handled in a different way. And we see that the impact that it can have in giving, for example, farmers a living income, if women are part of this, that income is being used in a much more productive way towards society.
I would be really interested to hear your thoughts on the linkages between how food is being farmed and produced, ending hunger, and also the impacts on health and nutrition, and what you can say about that.
I think that this worldwide crisis to which we are confronted now, some people say this is the end of the global view that we have. I don't agree with that. I think that more than ever we realized how connected we are one with another, and more than ever I think we realize that no one towards COVID, no one is going to be safe unless everyone is safe. And I think that the link to climate change is actually a very easy one to be made. If we see that certain parts of the world remain in dire misery and in poverty.
What do you think the position for the youth is in the climate adaptation conversation and in agriculture?
First of all, this is about their future. This is the next generation, and they will be confronted to the things that we have not tackled today. I'm convinced that my generation is the first generation that sees the impact of climate change. And we're probably also the last generation that can do something about it. If we don't do it, the generation which is coming after us, they won't be able to tackle it anymore, because it's this exponential evolution that we've seen so often these days in COVID. That exponential evolution is exactly the same in climate change. Second reason is that that young generation, they are incredibly entrepreneurial. They're incredibly ambitious. I've seen it the last 5 years. I've traveled in so many places in Africa, and I've always done such an effort to explain in my home country that young people, they have the same mindset. If they grow up in Boston, or they grow up in Brussels, or they grow up in Kinshasa, they want to do things. They want to do things because they want to improve the environment which they have around them. And the mindset of an entrepreneur is seeing something and saying, this can be done in a better way. As I said, I grew up in an agricultural region. I know no better friends of nature than farmers. farmers know that their subsistence, their life is dependent on finding a balance with nature. And farmers always have a long-term perspective because they know that's the only way they can survive.
If you could, give other world leaders a message, considering where we've come from and considering what we know, what would that message be?
Well, I think that more than ever, we all realize that we're in this together, and we're all in this. And we can only go forward if we work together. We humans, we can do tremendous things. We can do amazing things, and that's a choice. And do we get at the table and we bring our problems and we bring our resentment one against another, then we will go down a very slippery path. But if we bring to the table what we're best at, and if you try to get the best out of everyone, we can do amazing things. Look at what we've done in the development of vaccines. I mean, we've done this in 9 months' time. It's amazing what humans can do. And it's amazing what we can do when we're confronted to a crisis. I think COVID has shown us what we can do if we're confronted to a crisis. But there is another crisis. And that climate crisis is as severe as the COVID crisis. And it should be a lesson also for the climate crisis. Let's bring to the table what we're best at, and then we can do amazing things.
Thank you so much, Mr. Prime Minister. You really are a champion with these issues. So thank you so much for lending us your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you for a great conversation, and let's hope that we can get it into action. It's good to talk about it. It's even better to do it.